Hey everyone, it's Divine Readings with a Gypsy. I have the girls asleep, so we're going to talk about the court cards today and reviewing the court cards. Is it out of date, not needed, etc. Ooh, it's one of my favorite topics. I did film about 10 minutes in, and then I realized I was being a little too rambly and random, so I'm going to try to stay on point. Because the curse about my pad and filming on my pad, yes, the video quality is a lot better. I look back at my videos and go, the laptop is so bad. But my video quality is a lot better on the pad, but it leaves no room for editing, and anything comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth. And it's not very good censorship. So, that's all I have to say about my camera situation right now. I know that the pad is a lot better visually. Alright, to really understand the court cards and where it is today, it's really evolved from this to this, and actually there's one before this and before this. It's the Solabusca. Solabusca is kind of the also a really old one, but I'm thinking of the Golden Tarot. It's being passed around right now, and you all know what I'm talking about or trying to say. It's that one, the Italian one. I forgot the name of it already, and I keep hearing it all day on my YouTube videos when I watch you all talk about things. But it predates some of these ones a little bit, or it's one of the first complete tarot decks. But for all sakes and purposes, the playing cards is like the first tarot deck, and also it was very controversial in the early years, too, of playing cards because the church banned gambling, and the church really wanted to put a stop to people squandering their money away because they say it was wrong. And so gambling was not a good thing in the church's eyes, and they tried to put a stop to it by burning all the playing cards, confiscating playing cards and all that stuff. But as well as people use playing cards for gambling, a lot of people, I think, used playing cards for divination as well. And that's really where we got our divinations using cards. And so I think it was more than just gambling, and as far as burning the poker decks and things like that. I think it was more than that. I think it was something deeper. I think it was they were using it for divination as well. So it was just the all round. This was a devil's playing deck, but everybody loves playing their playing cards, and they love to get their readings done. So they still continued having these playing cards around. I love playing cards and the history of playing cards, and I think Kelly should do a video on that because I think she's a little bit more studious than I am when it comes to that kind of stuff, even though I know a very good history about playing cards because I was not a tarot collector when I was growing up, but a playing card collector. And sadly, I got rid of all my playing card collections right before I moved to Virginia, and I wish I hadn't because I had a very beautiful collection of playing cards. Oh well, and now I only have like 3 decks of playing cards left, and I wish I had more. Again, I wish I kept my playing cards actually. And then it kind of evolves into these, but what does it have to do with the court cards? You're going to say to me, but it has everything to do with the court cards actually, because the way tarot has evolved, the court cards have evolved too. And I think for the longest time, even today, the court cards have relatively been the same from this to, and this is of course in Marseille is at such a later date, so it gives a good example, to this, to, no, I'm not going to put that one up yet, to this, and this is the final result. This is my vintage Rider-Waite. I love to brag that it's my vintage Rider-Waite too, even though I shouldn't. And this is a kind of, and if you notice, not that one, that's not the one I want to pick up yet. And if you noticed, from having something that is come about in the early 19th century to the mid-19th, and really being mass-produced in the mid-19th century, it does not, and I love that it's the King of Wands too. Oh wait, oh well. And I love that it, this is like centuries and centuries different, by the way. From the 19th century to the 17th century, I'm guessing. I don't remember when this particular Marseille style came out. The book was not very clear about that. But it was probably the 17th century to the 19th century. Oh no, that would not be the 19th century. It would be the 20th century. From the 20th century to the 17th century, you could already tell there isn't very much difference. And even when I pick up my playing cards, it's a little bit different, but you still don't see that much of a difference. So it doesn't answer the question that you think that the court cards are out of date. Of course. Court cards are completely out of date, because if you really look at the progressions of the court cards in just that segment that I have in my little mini collection that I have on my table, that really, it does put a good point that nothing much has changed. And have our ideas changed from the 17th century to the 20th century? Of course they did. Our ideas have completely changed from then to now, even from when the playing cards have been used for divination as well. So I really think that all of our not cards, but a lot of our ideas of the court cards and things like that are really out of date. And then what also strikes me as strange is just when the Rider-Waite came out, the Thoth came out as well around the same time, and they were made a little bit different time periods, but roughly around the same time in the same kind of branched system, I should say. They're made from the same branched system, and then you've got Crowley's idea of the court cards versus her idea of Smith-Waite's ideas of the court cards. And you got, yes, it's still kind of like, it's still very much like that in a way. It really is. Don't get me wrong. However, the philosophy behind the Thoth deck is different than her idea. I think everybody has a tarot book or a little white book or something in their collection. I probably even have it right here. Hold on. Yeah, I have it right here. Awesome. That's just completely out of this world. Where is a court card so I could see it? Okay. King. He holds a short scepter in his left and a great cup in his right. And okay, thrown into the sea and the dolphin sleeping and blah 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 blah. Divinatory meanings. Okay, this is where I'm getting to being that this is really out of date. And this is from her philosophy, different from Crowley's philosophy. Is the fair man of business, law, or divinity responsible, disposed of oblige the querent. Disposed to oblige the querent. Also, okay, they're using some pretty big words in there, and I don't have my itty bitty glasses. But my point being, it's like the fair man sitting on the seashore kind of shit. you know, that I don't mean to say that, but it's the fair man sitting on the seashore shit. Seashore shit. And it kind of, that idea already is outdated when this deck was created, I think. Because in the same time, or not too far behind of the same time, around plus 20 years or so, around the same time, Crowley made his Thoth deck. And he was a little bit more revolutionary in the way that he said, I think he even said that the court cards were out of date, and this was in the early 20th century. I think he even said that, he said that the court cards were out of date. And so he changed his titles to the court cards, and then he associated them with elements, like this is the fire of earth, which is the Knight of Disc or the Knight of Coins. And this, just labeling elemental associations with the court cards. And I like that. It was, what I don't understand is this came around, for most sakes and arguments, around this same time. They both came around the same time-ish. And his ideas were already a little bit, not revolutionary. I don't think his ideas were new. I really don't think his ideas were new, but his approach to the court cards is a little bit more revolutionary, in my opinion. Just because he said, I think he even said it was kind of outdated. Your little scenic man sitting on a throne is kind of outdated, and I think he even said how you're going to read with this for divinatory purposes. But I think he did the tarot deck in his way anyways, because of the fact that he would made it more Golden Dawn-ish, if that was ever a word. And then you have, I think that people are starting to catch on, and then you have cards like this, and this is still kind of more of a scenic Pippi deck. This is the Royal Tarot. But when you really get into decks like the Royal Tarot, even just some of our newer decks, I can't think of any on top of my head. The Marielle. I got the Marielle here too, but when you're seeing the Marielle, you see the Royal Tarot, you see some other decks, they're starting to slowly but steadily break away the norm of the rider weight, fair-skinned, blue eyes system. I do agree that even then, Crowley's ideas is a wonderful concept. Crowley has a wonderful concept of associating elements to the court cards. However, if you are associating elements with the court cards, I like the Tabula Mundi Tarot, where it actually has it written on the bottom as well as the Queen of Discs and stuff. It says fire, water, and stuff like that, because it mixes people up. Because when you see a face on a tarot card, you don't see it as an element. You see it as a person, and that's what really trips people up about the court cards, I think. And my opinions could go on and on and on, and I have actually but I've said a lot of my opinions in a lot of my previous videos. But I thought I should give a brief history as well as a little bit of a 31 Days of Tarot-ness to this. Because my opinions about this is not just sort of kind of superficial. It's outdated. No, I'm not superficial at all. I have to be more complicated. And it's also, what could I do what I think would be different or a little bit more revolutionary to change the court cards into a better system. I think we are at a time and a place, and I think with little decks here and there, that we're starting to break the mold of tarot being 78 cards. We're starting to break the mold of the court cards being people cards, and things like that. So we're slowly breaking the mold, but is to say that you want to replace one system that is so much better than another. I think that the Orbital Tarot is pretty good with this. I think that's one of the tarot cards that is on my wish list, actually. I've been wanting it for quite a long time now. But I love his way of showing it on the Orbital, because not just the fact that the Orbital Tarot is revolutionary, it's revolutionary in the sense that he just kept it simple stupid, so to speak. Where he just has, for the court cards, if I could show you his court cards, would be a green background with a red orb, or a green orb, or a blue orb, or so on. And that, I think, is wonderful and awesome and revolutionary, just because it's already bringing my idea, my thoughts about the court cards to life. I think that if we associate the court cards as elements, or associate the court cards as an action card, then that's kind of where I feel like the court cards is going, for at least for me in my readings. Because if you get a reading from me, I would say, and I get, let's say, this card on top of this card on top of this card, and let's say this is your self card, and I say it's a numerological 5, and the numerological 5 is chaos and disruption and just action. Actually, it could also symbolize action, and the swords is thought, so it's action and thought, or disruption and thought, or just an interruption of a bleep in time and thoughts. And then you had this on top of it. You're also saying that it's also a fire of earth, which is the fire is another action, and it's a physical action of the physical realm. And so you're making things happen. It's a making things happen, so you kind of put them together and you go, so this is the person's self, or this is the person's thoughts, or this is the situation that's covering the person. So you got the disruption and thoughts and stuff like that, and the situation covering it says it's because he's reacting to the physical world or something like that. There you go. And that's a way that I like to read my tarot cards. And I try not to, my concepts of reading the tarot cards kind of blows people out of the water, but I could do that with any of my decks now. So I look at the numerical meaning, and then I also take that numerical meaning and apply it. Even no matter what the scenes are. I could even do that to my Rider-Waite-Smith. I've perfected my system down to a science now. I've totally overexceeded my time limit on this topic. I didn't want to make a whole new video about this, but this is something I'm very passionate about. So this is my thoughts about the court cards. It's out of date, and I have my way of reading, and it's kind of a little bit more newer, not really newer, but it's a concept, or I don't know what I am. I'm weird. But I do believe it's out of date, and I do believe that there has to be something better, but I don't know what that something better is that will work for everybody else. So maybe the system that we have is the best we could come up with at the moment. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it at. Until somebody's revolutionary enough to make up a deck, or make something that is going to just blow this tarot world out of the water, kind of like a new Rider-Waite or a new Thoth deck. Who knows? And you all have a good day.